So, in a drunken stupor a few weeks ago, as I am wont to do, I remembered something. Now, in an alcohol-fueled state, I only ever remember two things. One, the fact that my life is edging closer to the brink of solidarity and that at some point I'm gonna have to become an adult, and now that I'm on my own, there's a bit of soul-crushing solitude that I didn't know would affect me as much as it does. And two, some stupid movie or TV series from my childhood. Except this time, I remembered something crazy. A film I had literally only seen once and would fuel my love for animation for years to come. My mom had a tradition of letting my sister and I pick movies from our local Blockbuster to watch at home, and this was the one I picked. Now, for some backstory on the film itself here. Little Nemo is one of the oldest serialized comic characters in history. He debuted in 1905 with a simple strip about a boy who gets lost in his dreams. Praised as author Winsor McCay's masterpiece for its inventive use of color and the structure and architecture of a comic's actual framing. In 1911, McCay actually played an important role in the history of animation. Motherfucker made a film about making animation when it was barely even a thing yet. Get this dude a PBR, a handlebar mustache, and some American spirits. So, fast forward to 1984, some French guy made a film that barely matters here because in 1977, Yutaka Fujioka flew to California and said, "Anybody want to make an anime? Kinda?" Chuck Jones said no, but Gary Kurtz said hell yeah, and hired Ray Bradbury and Edward Summer to do the screenplay. Brad Bird, Jerry Rees, Mobius, John Canemaker, and a slew of other notable animators from the West to the Nihon were brought on, including Osamu Dezaki. Mr. Astro Boy and Lupin III himself was brought on for a hot minute to try and get this shit rolling. But the main thing here is one particular anime mastermind and god king of the medium, Hayao Miyazaki. If you watch the film, it's very suspect to say that all of these creators didn't feed off of what Miyazaki provided. Even though drafts were made after he eventually left the project by other people entirely, it's kind of difficult not to notice the touches that he is known for. By the way, I didn't gloss over that fact. He quit most of the way through the production. Isao Takahata was brought on with him, and they did not get along. Miyazaki wanted to tell the story of a child who grows up and grew in character in the story, not one that just haphazardly fell through a dream that he could just wake up from and nothing would have mattered. So he left, citing creative differences, and publicly said that was the worst experience I have ever been through. So yeah, title of the video, this is the Miyazaki movie he wants to forget. Although after the facts here, you can barely call it his movie anymore. Another production company, TMS, who you might actually have heard of, came in, took all of the assets, saw what they were doing, and closed up shop with the project. But his fingerprints remain on the cells you are about to see. Okay, actual movie time in poem form. This is Nemo. He go to sleep, wake up in dreamland, does not believe. He meet the girl. He get a staff. He meet a guy who make him laugh. The nightmare bad, but he brave lad. He shove the staff right up him ass. The people cheer. He got panache. And then the princess let him smash. I'm just kidding. They're like 8. They just kiss. Anyway, Nemo is a fucking trip, man. Every backdrop and scene is insanely detailed most of the time, and the animation is actually pretty crazy. I remember seeing The Nightmare and freaking out because that shit looked actually scary. Not when I was 5, when I was 26 and drunk out of my mind at 3 a.m. So let's get real here. If the visuals are great, how's the story? It's weird. It's linear as hell. Most of the thing is a dreamscape and crazy, but it's pretty much just take the staff to Mount Doom and sing a song midway through about some shit. I don't know. It's a kid's movie, man. Just listen to the spell he has to say to make the staff work.
Pajama, 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 jazama! Jazama, pajama, pajama, jazama!
Is that all you can remember?
Yeah, it's a little odd for sure, but oddly mesmerizing to behold. It makes you wonder why no one ever really talks about this. It's like a watercolor surrealist painting brought to life. Then all is made clear when you take into account that this was released in Japan the same year as another critically acclaimed anime film by a very familiar face. That's right, Miyazaki, who left the project, was like, oh, that's cute, and released one of his better-known masterpieces in the same summer as the little project that tried its best to stay afloat. It's kind of like the middle finger you give your high school when you leave for college. In the end, TMS recognized that this whole thing just really didn't work out. Even Fujioka himself decided to retire from animation after the film's release. But for animation fans, there was a glimmer of hope for what this entire project brought because of the relationship TMS now had with the States, they were brought on to play a huge part of some of the biggest cornerstones in American animation. Without Little Nemo, there almost wouldn't have been an Animaniacs, Tiny Toon Adventures, or even Batman the Animated Series. And who knows, maybe if Miyazaki had stayed on this project, we wouldn't have had a lot of the films that skyrocketed him to anime stardom. So I know I really didn't talk much about the actual film itself, but I mean, you've pretty much seen everything you need to know. But this wasn't really a review. It was more of an informative essay, if you will. Even then, this was less of a story about a tragic tale from Miyazaki's past and more of a swan song I'm writing for a piece of my, and to a certain extent, a lot of people's childhoods. I guess the moral of this story is that sometimes, to move forward, you have to leave a bit of your past behind you. That's the end of the video, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. Click the like button, click the subscribe button, click the doom button. I don't know. Find a button, press it. I don't know which one. Just make sure it's not the one that's the thumb going down. As always, I really want to thank my patrons for supporting me and helping me through this. I know I've told you guys it's been a rough couple of months, but as always, I really want to thank my patrons for helping me through this and giving me the right advice and moving forward for my life and trying to make this a thing that I can do full time. I know this video is kind of out of the norm for me, but trust me, I'm still here. I'm just trying something a little bit different. Maybe just be back to normal shit later on. If you guys didn't know, I'm going to Anime Expo in like a month and a half, so if you're going to be in LA for Anime Expo, you'll probably see me walking around with a couple of other people that are much taller than I am. Check out some of the links in the description. I've got a Discord, I've got a Twitch channel that you should definitely watch because I'm on that like every other day, and a couple of other things you should take a look at. As always, thanks guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you.